presentation in about 30 to 45 minutes. We will then proceed with the presentation of both speakers before ending it with a question and answer session. So if there are any questions from the floor, you may raise your hand and speak or write in the chat box, and we will read it during the Q&A session. Okay, so before we begin, we'd like to ask you kindly to switch off your microphones. You may switch on your camera so that we can see you and the presenters see you. So at least they know they're talking to a person and not a bot. And we greatly appreciate your kind cooperation. So today, on this wonderful Friday, we are blessed to have with us two distinguished interior designers, Mr. Sirajul Fahmi of Design Wilks and Mr. Kashfi Emir of Studio 3 Design. Both men are maestros in their respective field of hospitality and commercial design, winning numerous awards both locally and internationally. You would recognize Mr. Sirajul Fahmi from many international hospitality magazines, and Mr. Kashfi is another individual most famously known on social medias. So therefore, it's interesting to know how these two men approach designing their projects, which brings us today to today's topics, design-led spatial experience. So for our first speaker, we have from Studio 3 Design, Mr. Kashfi. He's a graduate of Taylor's University. His philosophy revolves around his process-driven design and sense of purpose. It is, to me, very motivating. So without further ado, we'd like to invite Mr. Kashfi to start his presentation. Mr. Kashfi, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for the introduction. Very generous introduction. I think I'll just start with the slides. So I'll start my presentation with the video. Okay? So bear with me, guys. You guys see my slide?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So if there's any technical difficulties, please do let me know. So that I'm just going to this talk and keep an eye on any technical issues.
All right.
Okay. First of all, good morning, everyone. Assalamualaikum. And I just want to thank everyone for having me, UiTM, the faculty, and Puan Zarina for reaching out to me. And I'm very honored to be called upon to share my whatever experiences that I have for the last couple of years now, and to also share the same platform with Mr. Fahmi from Design Wilks. It's a very established company, so it's such an honor to be able to share the same stage within a team yesterday. And before I talk about my spatial experience and my design process, I think what I would like to share with everyone today is a little bit of my experience as well. All right. So today's topic is called spatial experience, right? And before we understand that, I'd like to share my background a little bit, if that's okay with you guys. So I hope you guys can bear with me. So my name is Kashfi Emir. Unlike what Mr. Stone said, I'm not vastly popular on social media. I think we have the same amount of followers. I don't think I have 50,000 or so. So I call myself an interior designer. That is my career choice and my career path at the moment. And I think much like a lot of the students here, that's where you guys are aiming to be. All right. So I hope this presentation can give you guys a glimpse of what we do and how we do it. So just a little bit about who I am. My friends call me Cash. I also like my clients to pay me in that. My background, I did my diploma in interior design, and then I pursued my degree or my bachelor's in interior architecture. So I did both of this in Taylor's University in Malaysia. So I didn't study abroad. I was locally trained, and now I run a design company or design practice called Studio Free. Alright, so kalau free tu bolehlah tengok kat Instagram kan, then you guys can see what we do. Alright. Also, for you guys to have an idea on what Studio 3 does, or basically what I do, I want to take you guys on a short journey on how my career progressed. Right? Maybe you guys can relate with this because after I graduated, I did work a little bit. I worked at a construction company, and then I worked at GDP Design. Not long, quite short. And after a while working, I decided to start my own design practice. So I was quite ambitious at a very young age. So I decided to venture into my first design practice, and I called it Studio Folk. All right. So this is a little sketch of my first office. Right, about I think about 7 years ago. Yeah, about 7 years ago. So my office, it was a shop lot. Yeah, and it had a ground floor. It had a first floor. So Studio Folk, or my first office, was at the first floor. And at the ground floor of my office was a coffin store. Alright. It's quite interesting to know that that's what my clients would see, or my prospects and my potential clients, suppliers would see when they're about to visit my office. So if they want to go upstairs, the first thing they will see is this, right below my office. So, but I wanted to start my own office, and I didn't have a lot of money. That was a very cheap property that I could rent, and you have to start somewhere, right? So that's where I started. But despite the conditions of the neighborhood and kind of dodgy area to work with, I did my best to create a studio environment for myself. All right. So as Mr. Tone did mention, I try to be a process-driven designer. So it was very imperative for me to have a studio environment. So even though when I started this company, it was just me and my laptop. I didn't have any employees. It was crucial that I had a studio, and a studio for me to develop my design process. All right, just like students here, that's where you do your work, right? Other than home, you guys work at the studio, right? And that's where you get to formulate ideas. That's where you get to be inspired. That's where you get to have a dialogue with your subject matter, dialogue with your colleagues. So I did my best with what I could at the time. So this visual, if you can see, this is where some of my designs were pinned up, where my references are, my materials installed in here. I used an old drawing table that I snuck from my old uni, and I used it as a pin-up board. And I had a little pantry area for myself. Coffee is very important. So yeah, I started here, and I didn't have a lot of projects at the time. So you need a project, right, to sustain yourself as a business. So I had two projects that I spent probably an entire year doing. It was a residential project, and it was a cafe project. So this was two projects that a client, trusted me to develop a design. So these two projects, I was involved all the way, from the conceptual stage, all the way to the execution and handover. All right. So it was not a big project. It was relatively small, but it was enough for me to sort of have a taste of this design industry. It gave me the opportunity to try out, from a professional standpoint, what it means to design a residential project and what it means to design a commercial project. And but all in all, my journey at Studio Folk, the first office I ever created, I'd say I effed up this entire I would say attempt, and not in a way that my client hated me, but as a designer and as a creative, if I look back at the quality of work that I did and in this venture, I'm not happy with it. I'm not pleased with it. So I considered it as something that I effed up, right? Use my language. But my philosophy as an individual, as a designer, is I do not see mistakes as a form of failure. All right. So this mistake that I encountered during my first year as a professional, I took it as a learning curve. In fact, I'm very happy that I made all these mistakes. So for all you students out there, if you did really bad last semester, or if you didn't really do well in the last grade, or it's not failure. It's actually the best teacher that you can get. All right. So all these mistakes that I did with my first venture provided me with more clarity. It provided me with more experience. It provided me with more confidence to approach the same thing now. So do not look at mistakes as a bad thing. It's actually the best teacher that you can have, right? So 1 year later, after my first attempt at Studio Folk, right, at running my own practice, the best thing that you can do is keep going, right? After your attempt at something, you keep going. You don't give up. So what I decided to do was upscale and be more committed with my venture. So I ventured into my second design office, and I got a design partner this time. So it was not just me anymore. I got a design partner, and we had our first employee, and we called it Studio Works. All right, Studio Works, we rebranded it because it's a new collective of designers. It was a new approach. I was a bit more bolder. It was a bit more ambitious, right? So we moved out of that previous office. So we had a new office. So there were no coffins here. We had a lot of nature instead. So I invested in a nicer office because I understood the relationship that a studio culture has with my thought process. So if you can see, the design, the atmosphere of the office is slightly different. In the first one, it's more natural light. We had two floors. We had where my workstation is on the left, where our meeting room was upstairs, and also pantry because coffee is very important. So starting with the second venture, with a little bit of confidence and a little bit more maturity in my design process, I was very lucky to be able to get more projects this time, and I approached it with more confidence, right? So some of the projects that we did was quite nice. It was an array of projects. We did some commercial projects, we did offices, we did retail, right? So this first two pictures is Fashion Valley's office that we did. So it was it's in Kota Damansara. So we were lucky enough to be chosen by Fashion Valley to design their very Google-inspired kind of office, right? So that's what I managed to do at Studio and Works, right? So just to share with you guys, I'm going to touch on Fashion Valley store. So I'm not sure if you guys know Fashion Valley. Fashion Valley is an online store that sells local local clothing, right? Local fashion wear, right? So Fashion Valley, they had their own store actually, and that store was located somewhere in Pavilion, and they wanted to reintroduce their new store. So they wanted to revamp a new physical store, and they chose Publica as their location. If you guys know Publica, so Publica is a very art and creative driven mall, right? It's the art director for Publica is Nanika Ha. She's an amazing interior designer. So Fashion Valley wanted to reintroduce their physical store with a new concept. So what they did was they picked out about, I think, 5 interior designers or designers to pitch a proposal. So somebody at Fashion Valley DM my Instagram and say, hi, are you interested to pitch a proposal to Fashion Valley? So I said, okay, sure. And at that time, I didn't really know who Fashion Valley was. I didn't know who VV Yusuf was, So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll pitch. So how we pitched the design, just to share with you guys. Um, we we didn't I did not want to show design renders. I did not want to show design options, right? Because I felt that if I did that, then it's like a menu, right? So I wanted to share with the client. I told my team, let's share with the client our thought process, all right? So if I share with them our thought process, then they would hire us for the way we think, not so much the way our designs would look like, right? Because again, I was relatively new in the industry. I don't feel like I have a style yet. I don't feel like I have an aesthetic yet. But I was clear about how my mind works, so I felt like, okay, let's show them how we think. So this is a little summary or a diagram of how we approach the concept proposal or design proposal. So what we did was we looked at the retail space, right? So retail space has a standard program, right? And Fashion Valley is an online store, right? So you can buy clothes online. So what's the point of having a physical store if they can buy it online? So we realized uh, the aspect of a retail space that is very important, but people don't talk about is the fitting rooms. So fitting rooms is a program in a retail. If you go to a boutique, if you go to any like H&M, Cotton On, they will all have fitting rooms, right? So we wanted to look at this fitting room uh, and reintroduce that program. All right, it's such a normal thing to do in a boutique store, but we wanted to observe it from a different way, right? So we reintroduced the fitting room, right? And we wanted to introduce it as a focal point instead. Other than it being just at the back, it has now become like the center of attention, right? So we would like to give it more attention. Why? Because if you go to a Fashion Valley store, the difference from the Fashion Valley online platform is that you get to try the clothes. So if you get to try the clothes, that means trying and putting on the clothes is the added value that the store offers. So giving a focal point, we show to the users of the space that you get to take the time, you get to enjoy wearing the clothes, you get to be in an atmosphere that's very comforting or that's very accommodating. So once we've introduced it as a focal point, we gave it some material application. So if you saw from the previous slide, we use timber. So timber is a very warm material to use. So people feel very at ease. They feel like they can lounge about in the fitting room. So what we've done is we've introduced a new spatial experience. So other than just a conventional fitting room, Fashion Valley invested in their fitting room for the users because they understood that that is what they want to do when they go to the physical store, right? So because of this proposal, they commissioned us to do a few of their stores, and that relationship blossomed into us doing their office as well. So it's nice. It's nice that it started just from this sketch, and then it led us to various other projects with them. All right. So that was my time at Studio and Works, right? So Studio and Works, unlike my first office, was successful. Financially we were doing really well. We've got big projects, we've got big clients, and I had a team. I had a team of 4 designers. So me, my partner, and my designer, we 6 of us. We had a beautiful office, but somehow I felt that it did not go according to what um, my philosophy was. All right, from a career standpoint, it was great, but as a creative, right, all you creatives out there, all of us have a design ambition. All of us have what we would like to feel every day as a designer. And for me, working at Studio and Works, I didn't feel fully like free to do what I want to do. So it's not so much about my partner or the people I worked with. The people I worked with was great. I love them, and some of them are still my friends today. But because it was a partnership, I didn't feel like I have a full sense of freedom. And because I didn't have a full sense of freedom, I felt like I was fighting against the current. So, your design ambition should be scary. All right, it should be huge. And I have design ambition, but I don't want to fight it, I wanted to write it. So that's how I felt mentally when I was at studio work. So I decided to say goodbye, even though it was a great career development and a great career progression. So I decided to be able to be my true, authentic self as a designer, to be able to fully express my design philosophy with full control. I had to start again, and this time again on my own. So I ventured into my third design office in 2019, and I promise this is my final design venture, and no more ventures after this, inshallah. And it's called Studio 3. Alright, so this is my office. So it's called Studio 3 for obvious reasons lah. Alright, it's my third studio, and again, like I said, inshallah, my last. So now finally I've reached a point where from my first studio to my second studio to this one, I finally feel like I know my place in the industry. I still have a lot to learn, but I finally feel comfortable as a designer. All right, and now Studio 3 is an interior design practice. Of course, we practice multiple disciplinary, but we do graphic design, furniture design, but ideally we are an interior design firm. So these are my teammates. This is our meeting room, and this is our office, and so I'm very blessed to be able to do what I love every day. And COVID, no COVID, like I wake up and I'm just very excited to design things. So my journey, I just wanted to share with you guys, like how I became Studio 3. It's not as simple as just starting a company. You have to go through quite a few downfalls to sort of like find yourself in the chaos of everything, right? So now at Studio 3, all I'm doing is just trying to work on my craft. All right, I'm just trying to improve. I'm trying to learn, and I'm trying to be better. And I'm just trying to make sure that my designs are ultimately like benefit the users, benefit my community. So that's how I came to be at Studio 3. Right. So now a little bit of that is established. Maybe that paints a picture of who I am as a designer. Right. So now I can talk about the projects that we do. All right. Now, Studio 3, we're not a niche design agency. We dabble with almost anything actually. So we've done commercial projects like retail, cafes, offices, and we also do residential projects. Right. So these are some of a few projects that I'll talk about. Not all of it. So these are things that we've done last year, right? So I'm gonna start with Duck, right? So I'm not sure if you guys know what Duck is. Duck is a local brand that sells doves, right? So if any of you who wear scarves, I'm sure some of you might know this brand. So Duck appointed me, Studio 3, to again, same to sort of like reintroduce their physical store. So they've had physical stores in Pavilion, and they decided after 5 years they wanted to revamp it. So they chose me, and we've been just working with them to develop all their stores. So I'm very blessed to have helped them realize quite a few stores over the years actually. So the first one we did was in Wanatama, and then we did another one in KLCC, we did one in Centralized Mall, and we did one in KLIC Mall. So these are all different layouts and different, I would say, configurations, but at the end of the day, we're trying to establish a similar concept and similar storytelling. And we just opened one in KL East right before this lockdown. KL East is a new mall in Wangsa Maju, not sure you guys know. It's a really nice mall. So we just opened one more dark store there, and we are currently working on one in Bangsa Village. So if you guys know where Bangsa Village is, this is the site. You can see it there now. And what's interesting about this particular project is that it's their first ever two-story store. They've never had, all their stores were just one story. So this is the first one that has two floors, and it's really interesting because are going to introduce new programs and new experiences. But unfortunately, I can't share anything because it's PNC. But keep a lookout for this site. Hopefully, we can start construction in, I don't know when, maybe September, inshallah. Let's all go on and we can go back to work in September, right? So, yeah, so this is where we are with that. So, I want to share with you guys quickly about how we applied one of the design treatments. So, one of the challenges that we had with dark storm, right? Because you saw there's quite a lot of it. So, before all that, when we wanted to design the first one, the question that we had was, what was the shop front treatment? Right? When you enter a store, you are greeted with the shop front, right? So if you go to LV, you go to Giordano, you go to Gucci, it doesn't matter what the brand is, you will always have a store front, right? The entrance. And the store front acts as a introduction of the brand. It's like the first thing you will see, so it provides the first impression. So how we developed the shop front, we looked at various design studies, but ultimately we went back to a very basic approach. So the most, I guess, iconic aspect of the duck brand, like all the, they call themselves duckies. What they love the most about duck is they will keep the box somehow. They love the box. To them, it's like a piece of novelty that they would like to have. So looking at the box, right, it's very simple, but we formulated a pattern by using this box, right? Just looking at the grid, and then we took the grid, and then we formulated a pattern from the grid, right? And then once we've established that, we just used it as a facade treatment. Right? So it's as simple as taking a shape and a form inspired by the brand itself, by the product itself, and creating a pattern to be done as a facade treatment. So what we have is this grid-like shape that is in metal and aluminium, and then it's cladded in rose gold using electroplating kind of a process. And then we have a tempered glass behind it, and then we layered that tempered glass with the dark brand purple, right? So what you get is something like this. So it feels like it's the boxes being stacked. So it's like it's a playful way of like building a fort. You know, like when you're kids, you put pillows and then you have this shape. So it's quite straightforward, but it pretty much it's an abstract way of representing the product that Duck carries. Yeah. So this is Duck in IOI City Mall. Yeah. So another retail venture that we did is a brand called Lilith. So Lilith is also a local brand, and the most interesting part about Lilith is that they have been online. They sell women's clothing and modern. They call it the modern hijab wear clothing, right? And they've never had a physical store ever. Their presence has always been online. They never had a physical manifestation of their brand. So they wanted Studio 3 to help provide them with that architectural identity. So that's what we had to do. Like it's very interesting because we have a brand. We've been online for years. So now we're going to have our first store. So how do you introduce an architectural language that has never been, so it's a very interesting question to ask and a very interesting project to take. So Lilith is a brand that caters to the young modern woman for modest clothing, right? So what we did was, again, same thing. We start with the facts, we look at the retail program. What they're trying to do, they're trying to sell things, right? So they're going to have a store where they can display their products. So what we did was we established some form studies to sort of find what were shapes or forms that we could introduce that had this very feminine quality, right? So we wanted to empower, their brand is all about empowering women. So we wanted to introduce that narrative into their store experience. So by studying all these forms and shapes, we've come to a realization on how we can introduce that. So looking at the same retail program, we applied our form studies into the retail experience, right? So here's the design development that we did. The stores are completed, by the way. So this is the development that we did. So just to show you how we applied it in our design presentation. So taking the forms and shapes and using it as a focal point. So we erected a few of these columns to really show the strength of the space and the center, the focal point of the space by using the forms that we studied, and it acts as a feature, as it holds the store. It's a metaphorical way of saying this feminine shape is what holding the store in place. So the importance of women in our lives, right? And also those application of forms into subtle ways of how some of the products were being displayed. So this what it does is it creates consistency in the design experience. In utilizing those shapes and forms consistently, we have a very holistic look to the store. Yeah. So this is the store in KL East, the new mall I was telling you guys about. So and this is the fitting room. We use the same logic from the first 19 Valley stores. We wanted to make sure that the fitting room had a very unique experience as well. So because the nature of fitting rooms, right? Girls or guys actually, when we go and try it out, you want to have a conversation. You want to look at your friend's clothes. So the picture on the right, is a snippet of the fitting room. We really wanted to enhance that experience for people. It's such a simple space, but when you give it attention, then you introduce a new experience for the users. Yeah. So so what you get is a consistency of the form application. So this is that's how you craft the space or how you sculpt the space. Now, other than retail, we also done offices, and so this is one office project that we did in Denai Alam. So this is it's called Systematic Aviation Services. So it is a training center for pilots and aviation engineers. All right. So the users of the space are pilots and engineers. All right. So this training center helps pilots for classes. It helps engineers to understand the aeroplane and the aircraft. So the training center caters to a few people, the office use and the pilots, right? So it's quite a straightforward office space, right? You have your training rooms, and then you have your office areas for the admin, right? And because of its multifunctional use, we had to introduce a lot of flexible walls, so the rooms can become a room for 30 people or a room for 60 people. So this were the kind of design treatments that were done. So there's a lot of pragmatic design that were utilized for this project, right? Now, what I just wanted to share, because this project, there's 4 stories, all right? They had different zones and different users for each story, each level. But what I just wanted to show and share is the lounge and reception spaces. So ultimately, like, it runs as a training center, but they have these little areas for lounge spaces, all right? So the challenge was to introduce these lounge areas in a very corporate and office setting, right? So you wanted to introduce a lounge area, but you don't want to fight the existing concept treatment, right? So how do we make lounge areas feel like at home, feel comfortable and very accommodating, but it's still within the confines of the industrial punya element of this space, the office element of the space. How do we find the mixture of that? So my client, this training center is one of their office, but they also have another office. They have their own hangar where they actually repair aeroplane and service all these aircraft, right? So they do. So we took note of their HQ, which is in Subang Airport, and we looked at the environment and the material that we liked that had this, of course, industrial quality was the corrugated metal that was used throughout the hangar, right? So observing that material, we extracted it and identified it to be utilized in the lounge spaces. So we introduced that design element into a lounge atmosphere for conceptual purposes, right? So what you get is something that looks a little bit like this, right? So this is one of the lounge areas that they have, and so you can see that it has that language of that hangar space and that warehouse space, but we mixed it up with a little bit of warmth, a little bit of texture, a little bit of fabric, a little bit of coziness hominess to it, right? But still within line of the overall training center and office kind of environment, you know. So you do want to contrast it too well. You want to juxtapose things with a nice balance to it, right? So other than commercial projects, like retail and all, we do a lot of residential projects, right? Um, and I mean, I have to say personally, my favorite is always doing residential projects because the process of designing a home is a very intimate process, right? Because you need to engage with your client and to understand them and their background and their history and their life. You need to understand their life to be able to design for them what it is they define as home. So my definition of home is very different than your definition of home, right? So the challenge is that I'm not designing this home for me. I'm designing this home for another family, another human being. So how do we, like achieve that very different understanding and home? Right? So I find that challenge very interesting, and that's why a lot of my designs, when it comes to the lounge spaces, I really enjoy that because I like to introduce that element of life and well-being into my spaces, whether it's commercial or not. So speaking of residential design or designing homes, um, just to share with you guys what my philosophy is, like I said, everybody defines home in their own unique way, right? And it's about chasing a feeling. How you feel results in a sense of comfort, right? So it's really designing feel something. So for me, when I was young, I was blessed because my parents, I was fortunate that my parents took me and travel a lot. So we traveled to places and we stayed at hotels and stayed at resorts, right? So at a very young age, I have a lot of this memory of just me being in a hotel lobby, right? And you when we are kids, I'm sure you guys can remember when we go to a hotel, right? When we check in, our parents would do the checking in, right? They would go to the lobby or the concierge, and then they would check in. While we just sit down. We just sit down and wait. Sit down and wait for them to check in with our luggages, with our comic books or our Game Boys. At that time, there was no cell phones, so we were just sitting there and doing nothing. Uh, yeah, I had no cell phone when I was a kid. And I'm not that old, but yeah, I didn't have a cell phone as a kid. Um, so you just sit there in your built environment, and for me, I just absorbed all the things around me. And I was a kid, but I couldn't appreciate all this design elements. I couldn't appreciate the furniture. I couldn't appreciate the lamps, the fixtures, the artworks around it. I couldn't appreciate it, but I felt very comfortable and I felt very excited. Why? Because we are on holiday, right? So there is a psychological reaction to my built environment. So what I'm trying to say is, when I think of comfort and ideally home, I go back to this very nostalgic feeling of all these times that I waited in this lobby spaces, right? When I recollect my memories, I'm like, wow, these were really beautiful hotels. I never appreciated it, but I remember feeling very content about it. I remember feeling very comfortable about it. My well-being was very considered, and it's all because of the interior design, right? So when I design lounge spaces or when I design homes, or personally my own home, I'm trying to chase this feeling. I'm trying to recreate this feeling, right? The style might be different, but the feeling is what I'm trying to obtain, right? So, um, just to share some of the residential projects that we've done, this is a project in Ampang. So this is a three-story house with quite a lot of lounge spaces or living spaces. So the client had a very similar intention. They really liked the idea of living like in a hotel space. They wanted that lobby aesthetic, right? So you want to cater to both, right? You don't want your house to be a hotel because a home is about character, right? So it's a bit of mixture of both. So if you look at my design here, like this living space, we mixed it up a little bit with ideally, like it's all about comfort, with the selection of the furniture, with the size and the ergonomic considerations of the chair and the placement. But you pair it up with like a nice marble furniture in the middle to act as a feature, and the marble really adds a sense of sophistication or elegance to the space, right? And what you want is to have consistency in the design, so we make sure that the detailing of the furniture and the tables and the lampshades are all having a very similar black lining to it, so consistency and uniformity was achieved, but at the same time, comfort was thoroughly considered. So the bedroom of this home is also the same thing. You wanted a sense of um, comfort. You can see the comfort in the use of the fabric and bed. But at the same time, we wanted to use materials that was quite handsome and sophisticated. And so it's rich materials like timber. Timber is very rich material, but we painted it black so that it's not too traditional. That's a more contemporary vibe, so it matches with the overall lounge spaces downstairs, right? So, and the client was somebody that likes to use his work. He works a lot, so similar like how hotels, hotels are small spaces. They need to cater to various needs. So even though this house is quite big and it could have its own study, its own office, I just wanted to introduce a little desk that's still within the concept of the home to accommodate the client's use of work. So, right before he sleeps, he could just check his emails a little bit, or right when he wakes up, he could check his email a little bit. So, just a little considerations like this um, shows the clients or the users how their well-being and their routine is highly considered. So, another aspect of the living room on the ground, I think the basement or ground floor. Um, we have, because there's a lot of lounge spaces in this house. You want it to look different. You don't want it to look the same everywhere, but you want to connect the spaces. You don't want it to feel like a very rojak sense of design. So we made sure that the furniture that we introduced, like this general chair, because it has a rotund background, so when we designed a custom console in the dining room, we also applied the same elements of rotund, just to sort of tie two spaces together very subtly and not so obvious, but that's the kind of connection that you want to create in a house that's like as big as this, right? Just visual connection through material use, composition, and so this is another project that we did. It's in Kota Damansara, and this is an apartment, so it's a single story, and it's not as big as the previous project. But what I'm trying to highlight here is the client. The brief from the client was saying she used to live in London, right? So she wanted to have some sort of like memories of where she used to live in her current home. Right? So that was the same. Like I said, we're trying to chase a particular feeling when we talk about home, right? As much as it's practical design, it's a lot of emotional design. So um, the colors of her previous apartment was blue as well, so we wanted to pull that color back into her home. And because it's an open plan, right? So the challenge with an open plan is how do you create zones in an open plan, right? Do you build up walls? So you don't want to build up walls because you still want to have that sense of openness. So in order for us to sort of segregate the spaces or compartmentalize the spaces, we introduce colors at different parts of the house. So you have the dining room in blue, and then you have one living room in white, and then you have another living room in blue. So like creating zones by using colors, but we still tie the spaces together. We still uh, tie the spaces together by lining up the walls with wainscoting. All right, so to give that, because she was in London, so giving that English treatment, a little bit of wainscoting, we lined up the entire walls with that, so there is some level of connection. So you're divided by colors, but you're connected through the wall treatment. So you can see in blue there's still wainscoting, but it's hidden in the back. So consistency in application of wall treatment gives you uniformity. And then the introduction of colors, different colors, gives you separation and organization. So that's how we treated a small space. But ideally, we're trying to re-envision what she felt back in London when she was studying. So this is just snippets of my Instagram of a residential project that we did, and it's a project in Kajang. It's a bungalow, and what I'm trying to highlight here for the audience is um, these are visuals that are quite zoomed in. It's not a huge perspective of the space, so you can't really tell what this area is, right? So this is the restroom. This is a courtyard, an open courtyard they have, and this is their powder room, and this is one of the bathrooms, the cabinet, and this is looking into the wardrobe. So what I just want to share with I guess the students, right, is a lot of the home experience, residential design, relies heavily actually on all these small details. All right, these small details that you don't think it's important or you don't spend time on when you're doing your design proposals. It's actually what makes a home a home. It's the character of the home. All these little profiles, there's connection between the use of this door frame and the use of this mirror frame. I chose the same pattern, the same motifs, and the brass handles of the cabinets were utilized in other parts of the room. So it's always the little things, it's always the details that actually provides the heaviest attribution of the space. So and that's the part of this designing houses why I enjoy it so much, because some people they couldn't, they wouldn't even blink an eye over the cabinet handles. But for us, we source it and we look for it, we research it, we find something until we are satisfied. And once it's installed, and someone uses it, someone holds the cabinet and opens the cabinet door to make their coffee every day, to know that it's a material that is utilized in their daily routine, and we contributed to that, right? Like if you look at the bottom right picture, it's a doorknob, right? Sorry, it's a knob for the cabinet, and my client uses this cabinet every day now to make coffee, and his favorite routine is making coffee. So to know that that cabinet is being used, and it's a very durable and solid brass handle, not just some cheap IKEA handle, and how I've considered my clients or my users' routine and how they're very happy with their kitchen is the rewarding aspect of designing homes, right? So ultimately, we design almost everything, right? Residential, retail space, office space. It's all interior design. At the end of the day, what we do is we curate spaces, right? And of course, I don't have a niche at the moment, but I do think eventually I'll start to hone on one aspect of my project types. But at the moment, because I'm trying to learn and I'm relatively new in the industry, I'm always trying to just expand my knowledge and experience about the industry. So I'm doing all this to learn. But what I do understand about who we are as interior designers and what our role is that we are trying to solve a design issue, and we provide the design solution. So that's what we do. That's our role. As simple as that. We don't save the world. We are solving a design issue. People come to us with a design issue, and we report back that issue with a solution, right? So to give, I'd like to sum it up and summarize philosophically or metaphorically what it is that we do, right? And just imagine a conversation, right? And somebody says, I need to sit down, all right? So that is the issue that they present to us. So the most practical answer to this statement or this question, I need to sit down, is here's a chair, right? That's practical, so it serves the purpose and you've done your job, right? But we are designers. We're not engineers. We're not contractors. Our solution to this problem should be layered with a sense of poetry, in my opinion. It should be layered with a sense of consideration of well-being. So the best answer we respond to that is not just here's a chair. As designers, I feel like we should respond with here's a comfortable chair. So that comfortable is what defines us as designers, because we've considered various aspects of the solution, not just from a practical standpoint, but from a sense of humanity. We're trying to consider how people use it. And how do we achieve this comfortable chair? It's by the form, by the shape of the chair, by the material that we use, by the color that was introduced, the texture that was introduced, the weight of the chair. There's so many angles of the chair that can be considered to cater to its use. So we don't just tackle a pragmatic approach. We are also tackling an emotional approach. We're trying to get that response and that reaction from the user. And because it's a comfortable chair, it becomes their favorite chair, right? So that's the objectives, yeah. So it's basically the needs of the users are met by introducing a spatial experience. So that's what we're trying to achieve, right? So I think that's it for me. And thank you for listening. And I hope I've shared something interesting today. So thanks.
Thank you, Kashfi. All right. Such an accomplishment within a short period of time, and we really like how you modestly say that you're still learning. I think a good attitude for everyone, no matter where they are, the learning never stops. So for those who have just joined in, we will continue with the next presenter before we proceed with the Q&A session. But a short advertisement. From what I've understand, the organizing committee has set up a YouTube channel. So if you would like to view the recording or video, it's streaming live. You can also like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. So macam influencer pula. Alright, anyway. Next, we have Mr. Sirajul Fahmi of Design Builds. So he is here to present and share his experience. So Mr. Sirajul Fahmi is our own alumni. His vast experience in designing hotels around the world has won many accolades. So the most recent in Dubai for designing Mandarin Oriental Jumeirah Dubai. Congratulations for winning the award. Words cannot actually describe his accomplishment and experience. So hence, we invite him to share images of his work and ideas behind it. So being interior designers, we are not really fond of words, but we love hearing stories and looking at pictures. So, Mr. Sirajul Fahmi, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Irfan. It sounds good, actually, Irfan. Can you confirm that?
Sounds clear.
Okay, just give me a second.
Alright, picture is up. Start whenever you're ready.
Okay. First of all, thank you very much, UiTM. It's such been an honor actually to be back actually at UiTM for many years. Rasanya dah lama actually I haven't spoke actually within actually UiTM punya crowd. Thank you Nana for approaching me. It's such a great honor. So today I think based on the discussion, I'm just going to share actually my experience. However, before we start on that, Kashfi, you have done a great job. I think you share the design process thinking, and I think it's a very good actually process, and I hope actually the students able to grab the all the inputs. However, today, presentation from my side might be actually a bit different. I'm just going to share actually all the projects that I completed, and I hope actually most probably I think within the time frame I'm going to try actually to share as much as I can. I know it's a lot, so obviously that I'm going to try to do my best. Okay, so basically, yeah, that's me. So I'm a Malaysian. I'm a designer. Designworks is a company that I work at the moment, and I'm acting as one of the design directors. Obviously, I've been in the industry for 20 years, and I'm still learning until today. To be frank, there's a lot of things that I'm still actually explore and try to learn and try to grab. So this is, Designworks is an hospitality design firm. Obviously, we're based actually here in Malaysia. This is some of the projects that actually under my supervision that I completed. Some of it actually still ongoing. These two architects, I think most probably, I think all the people here in the crowd aware about these two architects. I used to collaborate actually with Frank O'Geary for one of the projects in Los Angeles during 2007. However, actually, it is for a new hotel. Actually, such a great experience actually to collaborate with Frank O'Geary when I was in Los Angeles. Even though actually the recent one, I would say actually that I also actually worked together with Zaha Hadid office. It's a project actually in Macau. However, unfortunately for these two projects, we're not able to proceed further because when we work actually for Los Angeles, it's where the recession of the economy worldwide, especially the US, and because of the one in Macau, because of our COVID-19. So it's such a great experience. However, it's so sad actually that we're not able actually to proceed. And we hope actually, let's pray that COVID will go away very soon. So go back actually to the title. The title is about bespoke, luxury, and real. What is bespoke? So bespoke is all about we create something that for that particular customer. So when we did the design, it's only for that customer. So meaning that this is very special. So we talk about luxury. So what's the meaning of luxury? So it's actually another extra level of whatever that we design, and we meet all the requirements. That is a must. So, but we need to set up to another level, so that the experience towards the space, we're able actually to capture that during the whole experience. Okay, so basically we are actually in Malaysia, so I'm going to bring over everyone to Bangkok. So it is next to our neighbors. So the specific projects that we work on actually the Mandarin Orient to Bangkok. So you can see here on the left, it's the hotel look, which is it's an historical building. You can see on the right, actually both is actually the same. You could see actually this historical building is here, and again actually this building is actually the right hand side picture. This property has been there more than 100 years. It's a very nice colonial architecture, very detailed, very very well cut by the owners. So obviously this is the hotel, not say actually a new wing. I've worked actually for this project. Actually, this is I would say actually my third times. They called us back, and the recent one is the most I'll say actually the most upgrade works has been done, including the architecture. So moving forward, this is actually my brief. A very simple brief that the concept that we take forward. I'm trying to try to compact actually the thinking. Being actually in Bangkok, and we have looked into the character of the local. Again, actually, when you want to when you are going to Bangkok, you want to feel the experience of the Bangkok. In this case, actually design works. Even though in our thinking that the sense of place is very very important actually when we design a hotel. So in this case, we look into all the flowers, and Bangkok have this abundance of fresh flowers every day. They are one of the mass producer for all these fresh flower all around the world. So, and again, actually being actually the site is located in front, really next to Chao Phraya River. Is the most famous river actually in Bangkok. It's a full this is like another level of river experience. We might not have it here in Malaysia. However, the culture, the vibrance of Chao Phraya River is just one of a great experience. And again, like we look into all the characters that really into us. But not to forget that we have the historical building. So this is actually the lobby of the hotel. It's an historical building. So, and this is, I would say, this is my second approach actually for the lobby in comparison to the first one when we did actually the I would say actually a very minimal refurbishment. But for this time actually we managed to do a new one. However, we still need to maintain actually a lot of the local culture elements, the style. You can see actually on the right hand side, this is actually a full thick windows that we still actually maintain, and it's been there I think it's like maybe more than 25 years, 30 years or something like that. So this is original thick window frame, until today it still looks good. It's well maintained. As you can see here, again, it's this time we approached the lobby to be I would say actually colorful. Again, being in the new era, so we want actually the freshness towards the lobby. You can see here actually on the left side actually this bell. So this bell it's playing an important role actually towards the experience of their lobby. So the client requested is to maintain actually the bell. However, we feel that actually this time that we need to do some things fresh, right? However, we still respect the traditional element. So you can see here this crystal bell is just created actually. So I'll talk more about the crystal in the next page. But here you could see that actually that we are taking actually the existing element, the patterns, and this is really to their local design detail, and we carry forward actually all this detail, this body leaf, what we call. So it feels like this is actually the leaf, and the leaf falls down actually to the lobby, and we incorporate that actually into the carpet, and we carry forward it. So it's all about these flower gardens that crossing over actually this whole place. And again that we play all the roles on colors, right? You can see like orchids, there's so many colors on the orchids. Here you go. You can see it's actually the details that this is a solid teak bell. It was created many years ago. But the pictures on the left, this is actually the new bells that been created, made from Bohemian crystal that was made actually in Prague. So basically, Prague, being a country that specializes in crystal, and they are actually pioneering on this thing. So we managed to get them in, and they drop to the side, they measure the existing, and we would like to keep actually all the elements as much as we can. However, we contemporize it a little bit, but still respect the traditional elements, so that you feel there's some sparkle, so there's like an old and new items that blend together. So on the right hand side that you can see, the sunworks, we like to play with colors, and we feel that we are really good in colors. We manage well with the interiors. As you know that actually not many designers that is, they have the elements to play with colors, because once you go wrong, that you're gonna make the intro feel a bit different. So you can see here, for example, the center table is the existing table. It's been there, I think, it's more than 25 years, but it's still in a good shape. It is maintained well. Obviously, that during the refurbishment, we make good actually of the existing table. We silver leaf its back. We make some of the new furniture to go with it. So even though some of the table lamp, it's an old table lamp. However, we change the shape. We change the fabric, and we still maintain that. And there's a lot of features, that eclectic elements. We like to do that actually in our interiors. You can see here all the details that you can see that we contemporize actually all the elements, the crystal, the arts, accessories is always plays an important role towards our interior, and it always each corner, each detail that we display will be actually put under our service. So this is actually the reception. What we made this time actually, this is the previous design that I did actually, where we have because they have a lot of checks in, and obviously after 10 years, so there's some actually upgrade works that we need to do. We add a new stone top that you can see here, and you can see actually this fabric. This is customized actually. This fabric is customized. It was done by one of the great artists in Thailand. So we commissioned them actually to do this. Again, that we provide them actually the narrative of what we do. So obviously we bring back the elements from the lobby, just like next to it. So we bring that, and we get these artists, and we say that rather than actually just to have a flat fabrics, we want actually the wall kind of actually reach you. So rather than just to have it flat, so this is where we introduce another elements into the space. So you are not actually like experiencing the visual look, but you also can feel the texture. You can feel the elements, interplay of lights, the shadows. So this is all the small details that is really important in our interior. So moving forward, so this is one of the restaurants, the veranda. This is one of the experience that you can see is actually the tiles. The green tiles is customized actually. So it was painted actually in Bangkok. So obviously that we have designed the concept details of that tiles. And obviously, being Thailand, they're so great with a lot of their craftsmanship, and they make the tiles according to our concept, with the colors and stuff. So it's every details actually will be actually customized. This is again that we go back to about a big scope, right? So we design some things that it's really suited with that place. So this is actually the restaurant. One of the situations actually the existing veranda. Obviously that we have a great expansion this time. They have a really issue about their kitchens being too small. It's an old architecture. The ceiling height is not that great. Here, there's a lot of big beams. Old architecture. We have all the big ducts and everything, which makes that the space not really great. I mean, for interiors, right? So what we did was actually at this area we can't have a really great ceiling height. The approach is very, the way that we approach this space. We just create like a small band of a ceiling, but then there is a details that actually is a very nice material. Obviously, I think again that we can't see this based on the picture, but there is a sheen on texture that reflect to the locals. And when you are there, that you can always feel, macam kita, when you eat tom yum, so actually that's Thailand. You won't say that tom yum is Johor, it's Johor menu. So that kind of thing. So that actually that is actually Thailand. So again, go back. The sense of place is very important. You can see here all the artworks is a watercolor of orchids. Again, that we're bringing that into the space of it. As part of to play part of the experience. Okay, this is actually the Ambient Wall. Okay, what's great about this mural? Okay, this is actually hand painted. It's created by an artist actually in Thailand. It consists around 17 meters. It's covered in a three-sided of the block of the restaurants, and this was done based on their temple technique painting. Obviously, I mean in this picture that you can see, it is a very Thailand kind of graphic, right? But however, that the texture, the way that they painted, it's something just like a flat canvas, and you just have this acrylic paint. No, there is a special a process that has been done to this wall covering. So we at Design, we always actually embrace actually all the artworks, the craftsmanship of locals, because I think this is one of the treasure actually that we start to lose all around the world. So we always explore that, and we always actually embrace that. And being here, to sing at this wall when during your morning breakfast and stuff, it gives you a lot of inspiration. So we have a great feedback about the veranda. In fact, I know actually from the hotel, what they did was they obviously that we have the basic image of this artwork. So the hotel team have created this picture, and they make it as a black and white paper. So being actually Mandarin Oriental Bangkok, it's a really holiday location, and there's a lot of children. So they created this artwork in black and white, and they will give the children just to really color all all the artwork based on what they see. So it also evokes actually the creative feelings and mind for all the children that who visited the hotel. So it's that hotel, how actually sometimes that they will take our design and carry forward into all their team program. Again, this is the same restaurant. However, actually, it's facing actually the main route that enters the space. So it's a very long, narrow restaurant. So what we do is actually we break the whole wall. We open up actually the wall. But then again, we were playing actually these Thailand Greek elements, but however we do it actually in a contemporary way. And obviously that we have all these crystal that actually dancing around towards the whole restaurant. When you arrive and you walk through that, you can feel that actually all these pendants actually dancing over. Artworks again, like artworks is really, really play an important role towards our interior. If not, then we just feel that it's something that is left over. You feel as your interest is not completed. So in fact, for us in design works, all these accessories, the napkins, the mat. So all these details. So when we work with the hotel, we're going to work with them. So, for example, in Mandarin, so we work with them a lot actually for their properties. So we will work with them, what color napkin that we should do actually with our interiors. We just don't left out actually the space. Okay, if it's done, then it's done. No. So we will go as much as we can, and this is one of the reasons that a lot of hoteliers actually kind of liking us as well in the industry. That we really want to go into very detailed in all experience. So this is another angle shot that you can see that how detailed that really think of. The green fabric here, is a very nice linen texture. But then on the right hand side, we join it with leather. Again, being these an all-day dining restaurants, in the morning breakfast, obviously, it's breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So they're going to have a lot of wear and tear. So it's good for cleaning, hygienic experience, etc. You can see here that we're also playing with some elements of details on the floor. It's a very subtle grey and beige tone. Again, with being Thailand, there's a lot of eclectic. It's also a melting pot, a place, for meetings, etc. We also actually carry forward for all the patterning for ceilings. For the aircon grills, we try as much as we can for a project that, to customize everything for that particular project. So this is actually the veranda that going forward, actually, that's the Chao Phraya River. This is what you can experience actually in the hotel. So, the view, right? I mean, the experience, the great architectures, across Chao Phraya River. You can see also actually like how their country to play around actually, with their traditional boat elements. Again, that is the Chao Phraya River experience. That again is related back again to our concept of the hotel. So this is another restaurant on abstract, what they call actually their signature lodgings. So we carry forward again, lodgings. We go back actually to history, shipment. Again, Chao Phraya River, there's a boat. So we have taken actually the character of a boat. You can see here the door was actually based on the boat, right? So you can see the door, there's no door jam, when you close the door, it's just going to be like, one character or big door. But then when you open the door, when the restaurant is open, it's becoming a feature wall. You can see here there's a boat kind of inspired windows. There's some artworks. You're going to see some of the effects, the experience that we can see on the next slides. We bring the character of the boats, right? The structure. However, we don't take it straight. We take the elements and we convert it to make an interesting element for the interiors. So in this restaurant, it's a mixture of three parts. It's actually the lodgings. It's a fine dining restaurant. There's a small corner what they call omakase. It's a Japanese drinking element. And there's actually one which is the bar, the Empayaki bar. Again, this is the interiors that you can see. It's actually the ceiling details. That it feels like you are in a boat, right? You are in a yacht. All this yacht is always expansive. However, we take that element, even the traditional elements of boats that you can see all this structure. However, we we convert it to be an element for interiors. You can see all the details, the metal details, the brass detail. You can see it here as well. Like this banquet shape, where it feels like the edge detail of the boat. So this again the main dining experience. You can see again the boat elements. In the original design, actually the ceiling's supposed to be a bit higher. However, I mean when they tear down the space, it feels that we don't have enough height. So we make some adjustment during the construction. However, we were so happy with the outcome. So these are actually the other omakase corners and the teppanyaki bar that only seated for 12. You need to make a full. From what I understand from the hotel, someone need to do a reservation for like almost like a week before they're able to have the seat. So it's like really fully booked. You can see here, this is the details that I told you. That you can see actually how the artwork on the wall and the door. So there's some sort of like experience, suddenly that you just feel, alamak, ada hantu ke dekat situ. So, but it's not actually. So, but there's a lot to, because there's a lot of history actually through this hotel. Again, as I said, that is a historical place, but that's one of the elements that is located today. So we really take that detail, that element. So these are the rooms that you can see. We obviously we freshened up. In this case, actually, we maintained the ceiling detail. We added some light. We brightened the space. There is an actually extension of the balcony of the space here. Actually, previously they were just like the room was actually just here, so it was not great. There was like a triangle space with exposed beam. So I mean, in this kind of refurbishment, a major refurbishment that actually. Luckily that actually the owners here, because we presented that idea, I think, like 15 years ago, that, they should extend the room. So, we're so happy that this time they agreed that actually they extend the room so that we got a full height. Before this, we just got a beam, exposed beam, and that's when like, you can see all the bird sheet actually there, which is not a great experience. So now that we managed to gain space, extra space, so we managed to add some of the interesting elements. You can see here, remember the boat? So we have proposed actually to take the boat and make it as art. So this is actually the brass detail that made by an artist actually in Bangkok. Again, we really back actually with the sense of place. Like from the room, you can see the Chao Phraya River. We bring back to the space. Again, Chao Phraya River, you can see there's a fish on the carpet. Some of the elements you're going to see, even though actually for the people land. So all these elements, again, that we are bringing the color. In this case, as you can see, one of the color scheme for the typical room. This is actually the bathroom. So not much that we do this time. However, we enhance some of the elements for the pendant lights. Actually, this bathroom, it's been there, I think, more than 20 years. It's still in good shape, actually. It was maintained well. So again, the briefing actually that was try to maintain the bathroom. Obviously, we make some enhancement, the fittings. The vanities looks good. It was really, really well maintained. Even though the mirror was great, obviously being actually in a 5-star hotel design, the material is actually obviously is a top-notch grade. You can see that during the years, like for example, in certain mirror quality, in certain years you can see it start to get damaged. You can see here. This is the. Okay, you can see here, this is actually the view over the balcony, that you can see the Chao Phraya River. So in some of the rooms, actually, we didn't extend the room, but then we have a balcony that we created the outdoors. That you can see that people can still enjoy the experience over the space. So all this experience, different experience, that is what makes actually some of the space luxury, and you're always gonna try to strive for new experience within the space. You can see here that the fish detail is a hand-tufted carpet. We play with cut and do, even though some of it we're playing with 3D card. You can see here, even all these fish, right? I mean, this is all hand-painted. So again, that we are bringing the Chao Phraya River details. another room type. You can see here there's a theme that we created for another suite. Again that we bring the wood elements to be there. Another view, obviously the corner suite. You can see all the furniture. We contemporize with the 21st century needs. You can see all the details. You can see all the accessories, right? I mean, you can see all the detail, and all this is handmade. This, all the colors, all the elements. In fact, you can see the macaroons, the base, all these accessories will be taken care, and this is part of the experience for the guests when they arrive in the room. So this is the all details that when a 5-star hotel they provide. Okay, so from Bangkok now, so we're going to move to Hyderabad. Okay, this is one of great architecture. Actually, this is how it looks actually in India. So Hyderabad, it's a great design actually. The concept architect was done by Atkins Global. They were based in Dubai, which was based actually again with what we are doing. Atkins Global designed the concept, and their local architect, which actually Thomas Associate, who act actually as the executive architect, their local architect, to execute all the drawings and submissions to make their local. You can see here actually even to the roof, they were trying to get the platinum LEED certificate. So all the roof here actually is all solar technology. So again, you can see that India has already moved forward actually to this direction. And I'm so happy that actually I play role as well, a part of this project. You can see here the name is actually Kohinoor. It's the biggest diamond at that time before Kulina was actually bring forward. So being Hyderabad, that is where all the Dun Sultan Nizam with their collections of items, on gemstones and etc. So we bring that forward to be part of our concept. So we all these diamonds, the ruby, the sapphire, the amethyst, the diamonds. So the pearl, so all that elements, the color, right? All these color have is a color that we choose throughout the whole property for the interest. And again, we are taking the character of that. Obviously, you are respecting actually ITC, like their brand. So which is actually it's a local Indian brand that have their own signatures and style and direction. So this is actually the lobby. So we approach it in a very contemporary way, a little bit. However, we still have the element of the traditional, the Indian traditional. You can see here that we bring actually the faceted elements from the diamond, being actually the big features in the lobby. So this is really big. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, it was around actually 6-meter diameter for all this massive ceiling feature. So we bring all that sparkle effect towards all the chandeliers. Even though some of the element on the walls that I'm going to actually show you later. So this is the reception counter. So again, actually we take forward actually from the architect's shapes. We bring to the interior in contemporary way that you can see here. Move to the next slide. So this is what you feel actually when you check into the counter. You can see here, this is hanging bangles actually. I mean, just to share with you, again, that's the sense of this. You always see actually all the bangles, kan? Macam dalam Hollywood, Indie, Hindustan. So, actually, all the bangles was, it's very synonym with Hyderabad. So it's one of their local elements. So during check-in, sometimes it took you actually few minutes, depending even when you're doing check-out. So you always want to feel something that you want to look at. That you can see actually all these elements, these dancing bangles with lightings. So it always moves. So it feels like an art actually that kind of. Giving you some sort of an experience, with its sparkle, it's move around, when there's some, air conditioning wind, and so it feels like dancing. So it's such a really great things that actually we explore with local items. We bring forward actually some of the elements that never think that people can never actually think that it's a very simple item, but it could be really interesting that when you carry forward. You can see here on the wall, this is actually one piece marble. That's like like really India skills, like they able actually to do a big piece stone. I think if I'm not mistaken, that this whole square, it was around 1 meter square of block marble that they carved and they just put on the wall. It was so nicely done, even including over the curve wall. So we created this pattern that we create a signature pattern for the hotels, and we carry forward actually through the space. Obviously, we make some calculations. So here is actually the lobby part. Again, it's very interesting. What you see on the ceiling is actually the interpretation of a peacock. We introduced to the hotel that I think this bar, I think we should call a peacock bar. What you see in the ceiling is their traditional method of decoration, what we call tapestry mirror works. So this is all small pieces, like I would say like 1 inch by 1 inch, like 25 mm or 25 mm, and it's cracked. It's a broken piece of mirror, and they paste it every single little by hand. So it creates this dramatic effect, with light, the sheen of it, obviously that we created this very artistic peacock pattern that relates to the Indian culture. You can see that we bring that actually to the insert. Again, being ITC, they always want to embrace their local identity, but then again, to bring forward to international level. So this is actually next to the bar, where actually for Bell is their ITC signature cake shop. So obviously they have a few things that their elements is actually the hot pink and the brass bowl. So these are the two elements, including the flooring, the signature flooring of their brand for Bell. So this is a very high-end chocolates actually under ITC brand, and they have all in every of their property they will have one outlet for these chocolates. You can see here the picture on the left. The reason why I'm showing this picture. This picture, it was, it derived from a traditional Hyderabad traditional architecture elements. So, I take the form and I created it and I converted it and becoming actually a screen. However, I'm doing it actually with their signature material, and it's been actually turned out well on site, where it becoming part of the artwork experience actually through the lobby. And I'm so happy that actually during the opening, the chairman was like really amazed with this detail. In fact, he asked that actually, where do we got this idea? So obviously, I'm sharing actually the ideas that where I got these elements and stuff. So and they like that because we still keep their elements, and me being a Malaysian, really look into their culture and study it. So this is what I think is really important when you are becoming international designer. They always wanted this kind of thinking, a new thinking. So another restaurants, again, it's a breakfast restaurant. We were bringing actually their bidri. So bidri is one of their local Indian elements, which is black and silver. It's always a craftsmanship elements. However, there's a wall carving company that have taken that and make as a wall carving. So really nice wall carving. They got some mirror effect on it. Really interesting. So that's the the big pendant light when you come in and check in. So which is around actually 2.4 meters big, really big pendant light that greets you during the morning session. So this is one of the restaurants that you can see. This is actually Begum. It's a royal name. Again, actually, they wanted to still maintain actually their Maharaja feelings, and we bring in all the plum colors, which is really actually to their history of being a Maharaja too. So in this case, actually, we just choose this color. If you could actually relate back with the diamond, which is the amethyst, right? So this is where actually we bring that, and amethyst is always actually bring we perceive as an expensive element. These restaurants, you can see here again the shape on the floor. So we have taken actually the shape of a diamond, right? So we created that and we turned up to a floor pattern. Being based again, obviously we respond to the design brief, for every each F&B. This is Chinese restaurant. You can see here all the patterns. The chair have the resemble to the Chinese element, and you can see it's actually that the patterns that we carry forward from the lobby throughout the hotel. Just to share with you, actually, this floor it was supposed just to be a maintenance floor, such a big area where they're gonna run all the ducts and everything, but actually this area is floating. So it's a really great space, actually, that this restaurant have both side windows, and the client just say that we have this such big space, so why do we just leave it for maintenance, right? I think we should make use of this space. So here you go. You could see actually this angle thing. This is actually the structure design. It's a big structure that could hold the 14th story of the architecture. So we managed to say, oh, never mind, let's play around with the space. So when we work out with the MEP consultant, we get them to move out the ducts somewhere here that you can see we created a mezzanine floor, just enough for them to have all their equipments. Obviously, there's crossing beam that we need to add because we are adding this floor area. So being an international designer as well, sometimes that we push forward actually to think outside the boundaries. Sometimes the client say, oh, what do you think? So we always need actually to think of some, being a hotel, obviously they want to generate some money, right? So we at Designway, we always actually happy to assist clients, to achieve that. Again, some of the elements within their Chinese restaurant is actually their VIP dinings, like really in the center of the space. When you come in, this is what you're going to see. Again, based on their market research, there are people, based on their local studies, that some people, they want to be here, to show that, I'm somebody. So this is another restaurant. Again, we bring the faceted elements, Italian restaurant, 14th floor on the top stories, double volume space, centralized kitchen. Again, being a centralized kitchen, you're always going to have food at 2.1. So obviously, we do not want to drop the ceiling. So we created actually this very simple ziggurat actually filling, and we treated it actually with a copper leaf, and it feel like a big glow towards the space, and it's a very welcoming feeling. It's very warm feeling. And again, being an Italian restaurant, with whatever that you have in the menu, so this complement actually the experience. These are the rooms. You go back actually that you can see that actually we have all the elements. Again, it was inspired from the diamonds. We bring that in the rooms. We carry forward actually. We tweak a little bit based on that pattern and becoming a carpeted pattern. Again, that you can see how we treated actually this. The bed where we float it a little bit in the center, just to give different experience rather than just put it on the wall. This is actually their the bit higher range of their typical guest room. They call IPC 1 room. And again, we bring actually the amethyst scheme in this room. You can see here there's different angle for the rooms. You can see that we are bringing the traditional of Indian architecture elements over the vanity. It's a big carved facade, big piece, just to evoke the look of the vanity. So obviously, we have a dark wall against actually these white vanity areas. This is another room type that you can see that obviously the square footage is a bit smaller. So again, that we bring this very the same patterning, but we play with scale. So just to create is a really nice subtle background that being carried forward from the whole team throughout the hotel. You can see here doorknob as well. All the small details, the diamond effects that again when with the splashes of lighting to create you all these nice sparkle effect. This their upper presidential suite. You can see here we are bringing actually the desk, sorry, the coffee table. It's a big coffee table, but it was so funny actually. The furniture makers, which is organized by the owners, they need 12 people to carry this table to go into this room from ground floor. It was so a funny thing because they have over-engineered the table. But obviously these are big rooms, 12 bay rooms, huge room. You got your dining stuff. So over the ceiling, actually, there's some effect actually in the ceiling. I think we can't really see over the pictures, but obviously that when you are you're able to go in here, you're able to see all that small details actually that really make the space feel different. This is actually the grand presidential suite on the slightly higher floor. It's a double volume space in the center. What you can see again, we are bringing all the effect of the crystal effects, the faceted, all these elements you can see that we are bringing. We carry forward all the details here and there. This you can see actually all these artworks. This is hand painted. It's by an artist in India. Again, go back. Always actually trying to promote actually their local artists. You can see here most of it that you think that okay, we always talk about diamonds, right? But here's a bit like a floral effect. Actually, we try to carry forward from what the landscape architect have done. We have done a tremendous job, to cover the whole landscape of the architecture. So we carry forward actually the elements towards our space as well. So at least it feels like the architect have done something. We as interior we carry forward something, and the landscape have also actually promote some elements from there. So we kind of actually work as a team. So that is also actually one of the points that when you design something that we collaborate and relate to each other. So carry forward. Okay. So it's Hyderabad. I'm just going to move to Tokyo. Konnichiwa. So I'm just going to bring to you, instead of the whole hotel, I'm just going to bring you the presidential suite. So this Mount Fuji. So here, it's a presidential suite. So we, when we look into the concept, so we look at the Imperial Palace Garden. It's such a very nice garden actually in Tokyo. And obviously, being an expensive location, right? As well, it's a presidential suite. It's the top-notch suite. So we look into the bonsai. So being a bonsai, a very very expensive bonsai. So we that is like one of our elements. But not to forget, we also look into the art of the origami. So we we take these two elements, which is very Japanese, again, and we would like to carry forward into the space. So this is a presidential suite. Actually, we did this presidential suite actually, I think like 15 years ago. So we come back. We're so happy actually the client called us. However, I mean when we designed it, actually the last time was based on a different brief. It was a bit a bit dark interiors, a bit very really moody. However, being actually in a new centuries, the brief is different. So one of the elements actually we want the space to be bright. So what we did was actually, obviously a lot of walls and elements we maintain. However, we changed a little bit all the wall and ceiling treatment. So what you could see here actually, this ceiling, before this it was a silver leaf ceiling. So what happened actually that the silver leaf it absorbed the lights and it don't really reflect the space. So which make actually the space feel a bit dark. So what we did was actually we brighten up this whole ceiling area, and just to let you know, this is actually it's a wall covering. Obviously that we can always think that okay, why don't we just paint it white? So we have difficulties actually in this sense because being in Tokyo, they are very very strict actually on all the methods because each finishes need to be submitted to their authority. So if you need to paint actually the ceiling because of the existing silver leaf, they can't just simply paint it. So if we want to have a paint ceiling, then basically we have to tear down the whole ceiling. So obviously that's going to involve a big cost, being Tokyo. So So the brief. So what we did was actually like we select a nice wall covering, a white wall covering. Obviously, they got a textures over it, a nice kind of Japanese kind of rice paper texture. So we just actually create a band of it and we add it. And all these wall carving actually, like if you're really on site, that all these wall carving, there is a small sticker. All this small sticker is come from authority. So meaning that all this material already comply to their fire code. Each metro in Japan must have this approval. You can't simply select something, for example, from US, even though actually some of their elements did not meet actually to the fire regulation of Japan. So obviously that we work closely with their local supplier, and obviously they provide us what we could choose at. So being in a different countries, so you're gonna always have all these different rules, and we as a designer we always need to know, and we explore new things, new materials. What is the guideline? And each pieces of this wall carving, there's gonna be a small licensing actually stickers. So again, you can see this the experience. You could see actually the Mount Fuji here. Like across actually the passenger suite. We kind of break the space, so you have this kind of different experience. We brighten up the space. Nice wall covering. I think you can see actually based on the picture, but if you really see the materials in front of your eyes, you can start to feel all the textures, the effect, the sheen of it. So this is the living room on the other side. Being actually we are in the 21st century, so we change the material, the furniture selections, just to suit with the current needs and style. You can see here is a wall covering. Actually, this is being photo shoot at the Imperial Garden. We hire an artist, a photographer, and the photographer is actually Malaysian as well. It's one of our friends here. So obviously we work with a tight budget, but he managed to work with a great actually photography. So again, bring the brave. We want a new, fresh thinking actually at this presidential suite rather than actually an old style. So we maintain some of the thing. We make good some of it. Like we add some more sparkles to the space. Just to feel. And this corner actually is all collection of really, really rare stuff. So again, being presidential suite, they always wanted to see things that they never see. So obviously that we curated actually with the hotel some of the elements, we purchase here and there, and so it's such a great experience. It's like a small museum laboratory collection. This is the bedroom. Again, you can see the origami actually on the wall. It's this is a leather actually. So we have a double stitching. It's a very, very gentle, workmanship detail, highly intricate details that have been done. You can see here we carry forward actually the origami, right? The origami pattern. This carpet actually, it's based on that, and we do the cut and loop technique. In fact, this is a 3D carpet where you can really see actually the carpet. Obviously, yes, the carpet also have to went through actually a testing actually in Japan for fire code. In this case, it made the requirement, so we're so happy with that. The ceiling, the experience, like you're laying down actually at the garden. Again, that's like the real photo shoot of the Imperial Garden. Again, like nature, it's something very rare that you can find in Tokyo. The bathroom, amazing bathroom. We created some of the element. We added the Japanese wood. There's a technique of a Japanese wood style that actually been created here with all the details that you could really see. We added some additional step actually just to make sure that the feeling for the guests going into the bathtub. This bathtub actually it's a custom bathtub. This bathtub comes with fiber optic inside it, and actually when at night wherever the guest is they can just press a button. There's a color actually coming up from the water. It's all about this different experience that you can find. Being a presidential suite, so this is what we always need to offer. We always need to think forward, whether other property have offered this one or not. So we always need to think forward for all the new experience. Again, we created a great we created one station for the makeup partners. You can see here the carpet as well. We carry forward some element of the origami. You can see here on the left is it's a collection of a very rare item actually for Presidential Suite. You can see here that we are bringing all the small details of the origami effect. The right hand side is the pictures that have been taken by the photographer becoming one of the elements. And this is the most least expensive bonsai actually. When I was there, this bonsai was, I think it's already like more than 100 years. So it's such an honor actually managed to see something which is like something very, very historical items. You can see here in the center image. The reason why I'm showing this image because you can see the pillow here in the center. So when the photographer shoot this image, we were not there. So just to share with you, this is a wrong method actually to display your pillow. So so being a designer, please don't ever actually do this kind of pillow arrangement. So it is some things that it's wrong. So I hope that knowledge will still keep in your mind. If you always see something like this, please correct it. Like that's the right way to put a pillow. Okay, so from Tokyo, so as what Irfan have said that Dubai, it's one of my, I would say actually, project that really goes in my heart. You can see here, so that's the hotel. It's like a big mansion actually across the sandy dunes of the beach of Dubai. Facing the Arabian Sea. The background is actually the Burj Khalifa. The world signature of the tallest building. It's such a great honor actually to work on this job, with the client. So I'll just briefly talk about, the whole concept of this is about, the experience, being Mandarin Oriental. It feels like, they're coming actually through the Chinese road, the Silk Road, going to the Middle East. So it's like a collection of that elements that going into Middle East. Mandarin Oriental known as the Oriental character. But then again, being in Middle East, we look into the traditional Islamic garden character as well. Not to forget about the space, which is the sense of place, which is the beach, right? The waters, the sea. That's the general concept. So this is the lobby. So this is the lobby that such an amazing lobby. I really put so much of my effort actually to create something. To work a project in Dubai. To be frank, actually. I think it's a very tough market actually. I don't mind to share with you that if you really want to test your design skill, I think Dubai is one of the things that you can try out. Most of the client over there, they are very high expectation, demanding stuff. So you can't actually propose something which is have you done. So you can just easily like when you meet a new client, you can just simply being terminated at that time, being a consultant. So that is a normal culture for them over there. So if you do not perform your design, if they see if their board members said, oh, I've seen this, so that's not good. So we being as interior designer, we always need to think something new. So you can see here, this is the lobby experience, which is again if I talk about the lobby, I think there's going to be another session. I can just talk about the whole thing about the lobby, how we approached the design. However, this tree was based actually on the tree, which is flame of tree, which is one of our view actually when we arrived in Dubai. That we go across and we try to feel what is the elements of Dubai that we can actually carry forward. So it was based on the tree. So obviously we don't take trees and put it here. So we do not want to go to that normal thinking, right? Just take the palm trees like shopping mall or airports, right? So it's such not great. So I carry forward actually, and again the space, the volumes of space, I play with that, and we created this, like 3 sizes of tree. We have 14 trees. We got thousands of Bohemian crystal. Again, we work with the Preciosa, based in the Republic Church. Great team member, great teams. You can see here is you can see the furniture is kind of really plain muted as the background because it's all about the trees. It's all about the lighting effect. You can see that during the daytime. You can see the nighttime, all the details, each corner. Because one of the brief for this project is very simple. They just want an Instagrammable place. So what happened now that actually the lobby, when they arrive here, sometimes they forget to check in. So however, being Mandarin, they're going to be escort. So whoever that arrive here is always going to be people that escort. Here is going to be like people taking pictures, upload here and there. There's a bridge that I created. Again, that there's a water. Again, that Islamic garden elements. Water is always feel in luxury elements actually for Middle East. So this is one of the pictures, actually like real pictures, like photo, during the setup. You can see actually during nighttime, obviously the water, it's not on, but you can see like the real thing. You can see the edge of image here, the architect, this is facing to the beach. So during at nighttime, so this whole clear architectural glass, the architect have played a role as well for us that, when they're during the nighttime, so the mirror will the wall, the clear glass will turn out as a mirror. So what happened actually when you are really in the space, this whole tree is actually continuous, front and back. So it was like really a magical place actually, if you're able actually in the future to experience this space. You can see here all these small detail which is derived, I make it a very artistic approach. All this is actually all customized hand blown, not even single piece is the same. So obviously I managed to experience actually how to blow that. It's like one of my experiences to go there during when we visited their factories. You can see here this picture. This is Amanda, the waitress. I found out the second that she's like 5'8", so she's quite tall. So you can see the proportion of the trees. How the scale is. Each corner, every detail, you can see the facet of the trees. We really need to really think about all this detail. Even though we are design weeks, so we are forbidden actually to use frosted glass. Because it's a big no for us. So obviously that we go into look into a very nice textured glass that even though when it's not being lit during daytime, you still got a very nice gentle texture. So we work with the manufacturer as well. Obviously there is a screw. In fact, they customize the screw to be in acrylic actually in clear, so that you don't really see all this detail. It just blend in. So that kind of small detail, bespoke design, like they design it just for this particular client. So it's such a really great actually elements that we know that actually that when this manufacturer they presented this work to other design firm, they are actually design firm requested to copy our design, but obviously that Preciosa being they are very international companies, they know and they respect that no, they can't provide that because that is our intellectual property. So this is something that what I'm very happy actually to work in the international market, because they really protect actually what we do. So this is all the details that you can see. Again, we inspired based on the Islamic pattern, but in a contemporary way. So we play with scales. You can see the lines are very small. So we go into all this small detail to really go the detail that we go when we design something. You can see here, this is the blowout of the crystal, details. Again, the timber finishes, the texture, the feeling being an urban resort. Some arts behind the reception. You can see here even the cushion, the fabric. So this is represent the henna, right? The henna of the Middle Eastern. So it's part of their culture. So we found this fabric, a really nice color that suit with our interior. So it is something that again it just complement with the whole color scheme. So another shot of the details. So this is the exteriors that going outside. This is the main pool. From the lobby that you're going to see outside. You can see here the landscape has bring forward like our detail. Obviously, that you can see the palm trees. The palm trees is not an easy element actually for them to plant it at the new property. They really need to hire and construct properly. The detail, underneath the earth and everything, everything must be well planned. So in this case, actually, we got a landscape designer for Knox from US to design it. So this is the ballroom. You can see here again that we are bringing actually the whole crystal element from here. You can see here, this is a tree. There's actually it's a skylight actually. So when we approached actually the space, actually everything was flat. It was closed down. However, when we designed the space, we said, oh, you know what? I mean, let's explore something, with the sunlight. I'm going to show you. So this is actually the skylight. So we have retractable elements on the top here, but there's 3 skylight. So when they really open the whole skylight, we play with the location, right? Middle East, bright space, sunlight is like, so when you have this whole sunlight, when they open this whole thing, the whole ballroom is just being light up naturally. So they do not need to open actually any lights. So, if they have an event during nighttime, during the daytime, so it's going to be a safe energy. So this is one of the design elements that actually that you can actually think of, when you design something. In fact, when we want to introduce the skylight, I approach the architect. I call the architect. Say, Ala, I want to have this skylight. So obviously we give where we want and stuff. So obviously we coordinate with the architect that So they look into the space. They say, okay, Fahmi, I think this is a great idea. I think we'll look into that. Obviously they need to shift some of the beam, the construction stuff. So sometimes that's what we do. We also push the architects, right? So and we challenge the architect as well to work with our design. Obviously, that when there's a great architect, they're always going to team up, came up with a great experience. So we managed to do that, and very interesting. Yeah, all these light crystal, they can change into different color to suit the theme for an event. So this is a meeting room. So again, another element. So we always actually maintain the maximum ceiling height we can do, because again, high ceiling is always feel as a luxury space. You can see here, even though on the wall in the meeting room here, this is based on a kufi, like modern kufi Islamic, but then we just do this very simple grid system. When we open this whole cabinets, actually everything we're just going to park. You're going to see all full range of coffee machines have been all items, glassware and everything's all being fully set up. When you have a meetings, so that's where you're gonna have the foods, hot coffee or cappuccino, espresso. So again, this is the cake shop. Again, this is whatever that I'm sharing with you here. There's a team members actually that work with me, and this is designed by one of my team members, Haizu. She's also from UiTM. Obviously, I'm guiding her. So she worked with me on this one. So this is her outcome. So she's also from UiTM. So be focused. You can see here again, being a beach, beach located property. So it's cake shop facing the lobby. So we created something that very interesting. It's all about the cake shop, something that complement to the space. We want that really leisure, coffee and chocolate corners. So it turned out very well over the space, and it's a great works actually being done by their chef. So the kids club, Mandarin is always having a kids club. So also we design it. It's like a beach tree house actually for the kids. So we design everything, based on the kids, the children's scale. Obviously, we need to comply a lot of safety features, materials, and everything, because Mandarin have this great program, for the kids. Obviously, this being actually in a holiday location. So the rooms. So you can see actually there's the Arabian Sea. It's all about the view. It's all about the view. You can see actually this is their typical room, the angled room that facing the beach, and we just we just bring forward the beach color going into the interiors, and obviously that we are bringing again actually the pattern, but we tweak it a little bit, but it's still actually in the same narrative from what we have done. It's a collection of furniture, elements, the brass, like this is like the Chinese element again, the Silk Road experience that we have over here. This is like the working desk as well, the dining corners. In some of the units, they have they can have breakfast over the balcony, seeing the nice Arabian Sea. We kept everything actually very simple and minimal because it's all about the view and location. This is another room type. is actually a typical room as well that facing the Burj Khalifa. So they have this nice city view, skyscraping into the space. So, and again, it depends on the preference of the guests, whether they want to see the beach or they want to see the architectural element of the whole city. Again, we keep the same thing, different planning, floating bed. Again, we keep the same color scheme, just to complement with the whole scenery view. The bathroom. So when we designed the bathroom, we approached that actually each bathroom actually to be the same in this case because if we talk about the architectural part, it's very very complicated. So we managed to create a bathroom that can work in the whole floor plate. So because this is going to help actually the construction and as well the cost during the whole process. You can see here that like even though you are over the bathtub, you can see you can enjoy the view. So this is one of the elements as well. When we design the planning, the experience of this space. There's two doors as well over here on the left. Again, either you are a person that would like the bathroom is open or closed. You can see here that we are using Arabescato, one of the most expensive marble. In this case, it covered the whole bathroom. Again, it makes actually the whole space brighter. You can see here that again, we're bringing the same elements, right? But again, we are doing it actually with just a simple bevel mirror. It was done really nicely. The craftsmanship is amazing actually for this project. We were so happy that we got the top-notch contractors who built this property. See all this detail, it's all customized. This is handled for the mini bar. Like this brass, like when I design something that I want, okay, I just want like 5 mm, and this is malachite. Malachite is like precious stone. I think like for girls, you guys might know that sometimes you have on your necklace, your earrings, stuff. So this is actually the malachite. So we do that as an insert. So it feels like luxury, right? I mean, it's really feel that you are holding something expensive over these properties, and you can't find this somewhere else unless that you customize it. You can see here all the detail for the lights, all these detail, nicely done. We got this, hairline finish. Again, that in this approach that we don't use much of polish. However, we have this, kind of antique approach. Again, it's like a collection of items, right, towards the journey from Silk Road. You can see all these details, the tufted over the space. This is my favorite room, actually. It's the Mandarin Oriental room. It's big. It's their signature room. Big living room. Both corners. Centralized bed. We got like 55-inch center. TV. Obviously, Mandarin have their own standard about TV experience. This living room that facing actually the whole sea. Again, that we approach in a very subtle way. The collection of all the woods. You can see here. All these wood, they have their own actually style that you can really see. We have this herringbone pattern, and this timber is not polished. It's kind of like like really weathered timber approach. So the color schemes a bit different for this one, a bit high class, where we actually use a Persian marble here. It's a Persian marble. It's not polished again. We just keep the polished marble for the vanity. Again, it's really back for hotel operation. But all this is a very, a very we call like leather finish or brush finish. So you feel that actually when you are with your bare feet, actually that you're just gonna like feel like you're over the beach. Such a really really great actually bathroom. You got like 1.4 by 1.1 shower area. Even though like me, if like you can't touch your hand with the showers over the shower wall. See all details, right? Again, in this case, actually, it's a blue detail. You can see the fabrics. You can see all these expensive textures, materials that you can use for the hotel. Another room, corner suite. Again, this their living area connected to a bedroom. So again, we bring different colors towards the space that relate back to the whole narrative of the hotel, of the program. See here, it's all about the view, right? I mean, like when you are in the space, it's all about the view. That's why you want to stay here. So, and this is one of the I would say actually on a higher ranking suite. They got L-shaped balcony, big balcony where people enjoy sunbathing. So
sorry,
we keep the
Fahmi,
same narrative, but
we
then,
need to conclude, Fahmi.
okay, right. So this is the bathroom. Here, just a few more slides. You can see all the details. So I'm just gonna share you with all the images. Again, the same thing. So all these detail, all these rooms, they have similar details but different color tones. We just carry forward throughout the space, small details, handles. You can see that we are bringing the screen. Obviously, this is a different room. It's a double-story room where we got a rooftop. You can see all the details. We carry forward the elements here and there. When you go into a higher ranking, that you have an extra features and a different elements. It's all about the view. That's the reason why actually our interest kind of laid back a little bit. You can see all the fabric details. A little bit like Islamic balance to Oriental, a combination of all the elements through this experience. Okay, we're just gonna enjoy this video. Just give me. I'm just gonna have to change a little bit the way that we're gonna share this approach based on webback setting. So just give me a Okay, Ifan, let me know if you're able to hear the sound.
Okay, sure.
Just enjoy the video. This is actually the first experience. So I hope you enjoyed the view. So we are actually at the end of the my sharing session today. So what I'm trying to conclude, actually, being a designer, just be inspired and original in the design. So always create something which is new. Let's avoid actually copying something, even though the Pinterest and stuff. It just could be something that you inspired with, and you'll be surprised actually some of the design that you might create in the future is something that had been done with that. So always be original. You can be inspired with nice images. So again, this is I'm just going to share wherever I'm today. I wouldn't be here today if not because of my mentor, Mr. Jeffrey Wicks, who've been trusting me a lot, giving me a lot of the opportunity throughout the whole process. And today, based on his guidance. Thank you so much. Terima kasih to all the teams members, Aizul, Nani, whoever I don't mention here, but these are the people that actually been work closely with me. Okay, thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much. I'm sharing the screen again. I think we'd like you to subscribe and follow our YouTube channel. So here it is.
Mr. Tom, you are on mute.
Okay, sorry. Thank you, Mr. Sirajul Fahmi. We are astounded to the breadth of experience shared. It's a shame that we are in MCO. If not, we'll be jet setting all over Bangkok, Hyderabad, Tokyo, and Dubai. But a blessing in disguise that since we are in MCO and he's also in Malaysia, so whenever we contact him, now he'll be in Malaysia. If not, he'll be saying that he's at the airport, he's in LA, or so on and so forth. So for everyone here, you would understand that how this individual takes their project very personal and close to their heart, and everything is done very meticulously. So in the case here, Mr. Sirajul Fahmi even remembers the waitress name, Amanda. Okay, so and both speakers have made a name from themselves. Thus, from what I gather, clients look for them rather than the other way around. So do we have a few questions? Well, we have many questions in the chat box, but I don't think we have enough time to actually spend so much time answering them. So maybe we would not be able to finish all of the question, and we'd like the presenters to answer as quickly as possible. So the first question is, I think, to Mr. Kashfi earlier on. What's your favorite brew of coffee, since you love coffee so much? Your microphone is off, Mr. Kashfi. Well, we can't still hear you. You want to test? No, I think we are having some technical difficulties with your microphone. Or maybe Mr. Kashfi can write it down on the chat box, maybe, I guess. Is that okay? While we figure out your microphone. Thanks. Okay, then there's another question here from Atilia. I have the question. I actually have difficulty in designing related to health, for example, hospital, clinics, health centers, and so on. So my question is how to produce the process of design, concept idea, and how to apply it into the design that suits. Still, maybe Mr. Fahmi?
Sorry, Frank, which one?
Difficulty in designing health related interiors. So, how to produce the process of design concept idea and how to apply it into the design that's more suitable.
I see. Okay. Okay. I think this is the most basic things in when we design anything. We need to understand what is the function of the space. I think this is the basic thing that you need to answer. I think being an interior designer, whatever that the function of space, that is the most priority part. Then you will go into the next part that you need to really understand what is the problem, right? So what is the problem? Let's say there is a problem. Okay, solve that. Okay. After you solve that, then you upgrade the things to be into another level experience. However, I believe actually things that are related to health, right? For example, hospitals, healthcare, etc. Things that I noticed actually, in fact, when I did my thesis, it's about actually it was about color. So actually, if you choose the right color, it's also play an important role during the healing process. So sometimes that I notice actually, these designers that they just simply put colors like crazy, and they don't even know what that color will evoke over your perception and your feeling. So again, I think you need to read a lot about when you talk about health, how do you tackle the experience? Sometimes it's not about medicine, but it's about your psychology as well. So all these elements is all about research and understanding, and again, try to find new ideas. Again, let's say that if you are trying to do something which is very luxury, obviously that you can really feel the level of comfortness. When somebody is waiting, while waiting actually for their numbers to be called, or that kind of experience. Again, actually the lighting, right? I mean the mood of the lighting. You don't want it to be too bright, right? When you're sick, that you obviously that you cannot be in a bright area. So understanding on that, then you will start to see all the details that where you want to tackle. But then again, you need to study the space, the function, the flow, and obviously you need to think about when it goes to over health design. It's about how they're going to maintain hygienic items, material, whether the material is actually will bring you actually some effect. So all these material have to as well. Being interior designer, you can just select, I just want this laminate. I want this material. Some of the materials actually do not meet actually health regulation requirements. So I'm not sure about the design practice for some of other designers. For example, when we design hotel design, when they try to meet some of the level of certificate that we need to comply, for example, the work carbon selection, it needs to comply to class 1 rating, or even though let's say if they want to try to meet the US standard, it need to be a class A plus rating. So all that material that when we choose, that we need to see, this is where the function of the specification that you need to read. So I believe when you go into step by step, then at least I think you will get actually all this information.
All right, thank you. I think you've also answered Anis and Ism's question where talking about spatial experience and the process. One question from Dr. Azraini is that how do you tackle issues sustaining to cultural sensitivity? Were there any time that when you wanted to design something that it somehow irks the local culture, or how do you avoid that?
Okay.
Maybe there's a certain color. Maybe there's a certain color that you cannot use in Middle East or in Tokyo and so on.
Okay. Hi, Azlani. I'm happy that you are here as well. I think when we design, it's a great thing actually. That's the things that I said that I always learn new things wherever we are in a new location. Obviously that we work closely with the client's team. Obviously that we also have to make sure that we research a lot. I think that's the process. I think even though when we are a student, we've been asked to research a lot of things. So, just to share with you, for example, actually in Dubai, when we created actually some of the patterns, um, it's for the corridor carpets. So one of the things actually during that time, the process, actually the client said that, okay, can you just change this a little bit? And obviously, like during the presentation, during the process, they said, okay, maybe we need to tweak a little bit of this pattern because he is concerned that actually, being in Dubai, with this, with this Islamic, country. So there was actually, it's not really 100% to a Star of David shape. However, they were trying to avoid actually just to represent the Star of David. It's like the Israel punya flag. So obviously that we see, even though it's not a direct, but however we just say that maybe we tweak a little bit because he liked the patterns, but maybe we're trying to avoid that. So this is one of the things that we will get input. For example, we don't say it, however they understand more. So there's always actually this teamwork, communication. But obviously that that's a process actually with the client teams as well. So again, I'm just reading actually Jazlani reading. So how do we tackle? I think number one, actually, we do a lot of readings. Obviously, being me and Jeffrey, so we make use of some of our, contacts and stuff. We ask around. Obviously, that we do a lot of readings and stuff. However, being actually with these kind of clients that we already know actually what kind of services or design level that they want. So that's why I think the narrative that we fix the narrative that is very important, sense of place, and we will still keep in the narrative. I hope that answered.
Yeah, you answered quite a lot to a lot of people here. Anyway, thank you. Next question to Mr. Kashfi. I hope the technical.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Kashfi. Thanks.
Okay.
So the next question is comment on coffee as well as to another question here on regards to your philosophy and concept that lead to a concrete design idea. Is that philosophy applied to all projects or they differs to each and every one? Maybe, I guess.
I try to keep it short lah. So coffee, black, simple. Design philosophy, yeah, I think it's at the end of the day, the first layer of any design approach, okay, is always to tackle the brief. Because we're not designing for ourselves, we're designing for a particular user, a particular client, a particular demographic. So it's always approaching the project from a brief standpoint first. And then I think from a conceptual and philosophical standpoint, because every designer is different, looking at the outcome, you can already tell how the thought process and how meticulous the designer is at their own respective style of design. So when I saw the lobby of the Dubai Mandarin Oriental, the level of detailing that I feel like my entire career can fit into the lobby of the Dubai design, so what I'm trying to say is your philosophy and concept when your rationale has to come from your own understanding of design theory. Whatever you read, whatever you experience in life, from your travels, from your conversations with people, that formulates your thought process. So it's really about, as cheesy as it sounds, you just gotta be yourself. You be yourself and how you would approach a design execution, other than like I said, the design brief. That one is practical, the one you have to, and then the creative expression is about your personal interpretation of it.
All right, thank you very much. There's also here a question about keeping the design evergreen. Do you work on that, or because you both design spaces that require refurbishment after certain years? But how do you keep the design fresh for another 5-10 years?
For me personally, I'm not sure about Mr. Fahmi. I mean, you can't design with a sense of confirmation on how it will last, because design is always evolving and culture is always evolving. But in the bigger scheme of things, if you understand design principles, right, you understand the design orders, you know what repetition is, balance is, harmony is, composition is, then it will, inshallah, if you maintain that level of thought process, create a design that is somewhat timeless. You know, like you don't design with timelessness, I guess, for me, but I treat it like art. You know what I mean? If art, Van Gogh's art has lasted for almost 200 years. He didn't think about I have to design it so that it stays in trend. You know, there's good composition in his art. There is balance there, there's harmony there. All design principles have been considered to produce an outcome that is aesthetically pleasing. And then you add the emotional context behind that painting, and people can relate to it. So at the end of the day, if you understand the subject matter and you introduce context into your design, it will be relevant. You know, I guess. Wait, hold on. One keyword is avoid trends. Don't design with trend in mind. If you design with trend in mind, it will not last.
Alright, that's good. Fahmi, I think for you, it takes a very long time to actually design a hotel. But then once your hotel finish, you need to think about the next design coming up. So how do you tackle that, Fahmi?
Okay. It's a very good question actually, and it's always a question that being asked actually. Okay, our philosophy it is clear that when we design something, what is in our brain, it needs to be timeless. We never approach something which is based on the trend, because trend it's just a period. However, what's good thing about trend, like if you think about trendsetter, so if you are a trendsetter, that's good because you are creating something new, right? So for me, actually, trendsetter is just another word, like being creative. Being creative is actually you need to think forward. Okay, just to be frank, when we design a hotel, our time frame is not like 5 months. It's not like 6-month project. We are talking about 5 years, 7 years project. So obviously, I could share actually here that for example, Mandarin Dubai, it's a 4 years project time. 2 years actually on papers. The space was actually just empty plot. So when we actually were there, empty plot, nothing. We just see the beach. So to be frank, actually 2 years me on papers. Obviously they start. However, it got delayed a little bit because obviously during the process there's a lot of things. So that is actually the most fastest project that actually over in under my supervision. So whenever we approach design, we need to think something which is okay. What we design today, whether it's lasted actually for the next 5-7 years. It's not like something stopped today that you think, oh, today is good. You are not sure what's happening tomorrow. So we always need to think forward. So and that's the reason that when we design something, for me personally, and I always actually advise, all the designers that under my supervision, never upload anything on media social. Never do anything. Do not expose. Need to understand about what is NDA, Non-Disclosure Act. So there's a lot of things, for example, in Malaysia, people don't see that, right? Because, when you start to share, first of all these freelancers, I'll keep on advice actually to them that when you do something for your clients, do not share. Because that is something that might be viable actually for the clients in the future. So, we need to respect the intellectual property of each designer. So you able to play part of it. So always make sure, when you design something, it needs to be original, so that people don't copy, right? So obviously you do not want to have something or a nice picture from Pinterest, but then that's your interior. Then you want to claim, oh, this is my interior. But yeah, but it's same like this. So that's the reason why if you see that the project that I share, it's all about the narrative, being very bespoke about the design, being very unique in every each pieces. There's always a story about for example, like the lobby itself. I think I did give a talk to Thai UC team members a few weeks ago, just about the lobby itself. How we tackle, how we blur the lines between the architects. What's the problem from the architecture space. Obviously that again, being me, being vocal in design a little bit, that I always, like try to push the boundary from the architects as well. So, yeah, of course, some of the architects, don't like that, but me being, as an interior designer, I think that at the end of the day, actually, the interior space is the most important thing, because this is where you really actually communicate with, right? I mean, you use the space. So. And I totally understand about architecture, about forms and stuff, and that's also playing an important role. And going back to the design, it's about, again, you need to think forward. Again, have that mind of the trendsetter things, but in design.
All right, thank you. I think you also answered Sarah's question. One last question, I think, for today, from Mercy. What's the design challenge you face in your 20 years experience? Non-sleep, is it?
Okay, 20 years of experience. Obviously, I started from, it's not like, simply I'm going up. So there's a lot of things that I learned as well. To be creative, that's one thing. Obviously, that to have the design thought process. Obviously, having my mentor, Jeffrey Wilkes. He's Canadian, but he really understands the Asian thing, and obviously that we always like to talk about the way that we taught, and obviously that we have some argumentation as well, the way we approach. Throughout the process, it's all about how do you want to bring yourself, being in international level. You can expect them know what is nasi lemak, apa tu teh tarik ke, you nak Milo ice ke, even for example, like when you go to certain countries, you nak sauce chili. There's no sauce chili actually dekat overseas, and it's Indonesia. Kalau if you go to for example the States, they're just going to give you Tabasco, even though in the middle of it. So like to understand all these things is part of your experience within that 20 years. I think the most difficult part, I think, is actually how you want to manage the whole project, from design, execution on drawings, details, to develop the details, to understand the local codes. What is the rules and regulation? What is the capability on that country, or maybe the capability of the contractor that been hired actually on the job. Like in this case, Design Weeks, we are fully interior design consultant. There's a reason why I'm still with them, because I think this is the right methodology actually that should be practiced for interior designer. We don't do BOQ. We obviously that we play rules. To produce a drawing as part as the tender process. However, we don't. That is actually QS task, right? That's their specialty. It's just like being interior designers, right? You don't like architects to do interior design job. So, an interior designer is doing the QS job. Obviously the QS don't feel happy with this. So, this is what being practiced overseas actually. Like each department, they will focus on their specialty, and everyone will just focus on that. So, being interior designer, you don't really think about it's very hard to this is very hard to be built, right? We're just going to challenge them. Let's do a mock-up. Obviously there we and with this collective experience all over the world, that we know this country can do. So like they do here and everything. Even though with all this overseas project, some of the items being imported actually. Even though, for example, carpets from in Tokyo, it was made actually here in Malaysia. So obviously they have experience. So obviously the price is very competitive. Obviously we compare with China and stuff. So is it going international market? It's vast. It's just that you need to be really professional. So that is one of the experience. Obviously again think forward, be positive, bersabar, tak tidur tu Yes, jet lag. If you travel a lot, yeah, of course. I'm so lucky that actually about the COVID, because I was in Shanghai actually just when they exposed the COVID-19 about Wuhan. I was there. Actually, it was a long travel. Went to Istanbul and then we go to Switzerland and then coming back. Alhamdulillah. So until today, I'm still here.
Alhamdulillah, thank you. I think the remedy will be from Kashfi, black coffee. His picture earlier on showing this Creative Brew juice mug. So that's an iconic mug, I think, in the office. Okay, that's all the time that we have today. I think to conclude, we very much like on how you all have presented your experience and work. On Kashfi's part, I think you bringing the thought process to the client was very interesting. It's not about showing the best perspectives or and so on, but it shows how direct one's communication can be towards a client, to convince them that you are going to do the job the best that they think they want. And for Fahmi, I think you obviously took Bespoke to the next level. I think the amount of detail that you have meticulously put on into your work, as well as collaborating with best local craftsmen, is very much should be applauded. So Alhamdulillah, we've come to an end to our second concept webinar series. In the chat box, there's the certificate link. So I would like everyone to fill in the form for the team to generate your certificates, as well as would like to invite everyone to subscribe to our YouTube channel. More contents will be coming up. We will share more interesting ideas for the benefit of all, so that this learning process does not stop in the university but also beyond. So we would like to say thanks to our speakers, Mr. Sirajul Fahmi and Mr. Kashfi, for sharing informative and interesting talk. Hopefully today's webinar session will be beneficial for everybody. So before we officially end, we would like to have a virtual photo session with speakers and participants. So if you could all please switch on your camera, and
semua terus lari ya.
Semua terus lari. Now everything when it's on social media, everybody likes to share experience, but not their face. Itulah. Alright. So is Miss Sarah going to print screen or?
Boleh? Okay, I'll print screen. Yep. Okay, everybody ready? So 1, 2, 3, smile.